Hey, if you're thinking, I barely have time to write, let alone start a podcast, I got you. My Start Your Author podcast checklist helps busy writers like you start a podcast without sacrificing your writing time. No more guessing or Googling. Starting is actually the easiest part of podcasting, and with this step-by-step checklist, you can fit it in over the next 6 weeks or even next weekend. Stop letting uncertainty hold you back. Grab your free checklist at the link below and get on your way to serving your target readers today. When pitching to guest on podcast, how do you propose interview topics to the host that attract both them and their listeners? That's what we're talking about today with my special guest, Linda Goldfarb. Linda is the award-winning author of Creating Dynamic Podcast and Audiobooks, and she hosts both the Your Best Writing Life podcast and the Staying Real About Faith and Family podcast. Today's episode is part 2 of our 4-part series called Interview Guesting Best Practices. And if you missed episode 1, which was 3 steps to expand the reach of your core message, I'll link to Linda's Your Best Writing Life podcast in the show notes. We're having so much fun bringing you this series and taking turns airing the episodes on both our podcasts. You're in for a treat today as we talk about creating your top 3 interview topics with emotion. So let's get to it. Linda, I'm so thrilled you're back here to serve my listeners with this series on interview guesting best practices. This is so fun. So we're just going to dive right into it. And I want to talk about part 2 of our series, and that's how to create your top 3 interview topics. So Linda, in your book, you talk about creating interview topics that are honed to attract specific audiences, which if you heard part 1, you heard a lot about Linda talking about our different audience. But let's just dive more into this. Like, what does that mean to, create interview topics that are honed to attract different audiences that we might be speaking to?
Oh, absolutely. And what we want to do is we want to choose topics that we are the most passionate about. And here's why. Because passion carries a lot of interview weight. As you talk about this topic, you can talk about this topic in your sleep. So when you know your way around what it is that you're sharing, you can absolutely your passion comes across and people like it and people are drawn to it and they know that you're authentic. So we look at 3 different areas here. The first thing that I want us to consider is to think promise-based titles. And when we think promise-based titles, what is it that when a potential listener is scrolling through and they're going, okay, what are they going to see? What are we going to see? What are they sharing with us? Well, we know on ours, we're very specific in this series. How to expand the reach of your core message. How to create your top 3 interview topics. How to create promise-fulfilling interview questions. How to create professional interview queries. All of those, that's what we have in this series. So they know what we're going to be offering to them. So the first one, when we think promise-based titles, then this is what we're looking at. Again, I'll work from my linked series, okay? So 3 topic titles for a family interview. So with linked personalities, I could do a family interview. What I've done is I look at that and I go, all right, what can I speak on? And how can I invest in the life of my listener? So I went to Headline Analyzer, and there's a link in the show notes for that. You can also use AI if you want to use AI and ask them questions based on this. I utilize some of AI and I'll put in my information, what I've already written, my topic, not using someone else's information. And I'll ask them, based on this chapter, what would be 3 topics I could talk to a family about? And I would put a Christian family about. Well, when you have that, then you want to hone it and you want to know that it is going to have the highest emotional reach. So what I did, I wanted to see how emotionally connected can I get with my audience. So when I went to Headline Analyzer, I wrote in 3 ways to help families talk things out. Well, it gives me a percentage of emotional pull or draw, right? Connection. So it only gave me 50%, which, okay, that's okay, but I want more. So I honed it. 3 ways to help families get along. Well, it went up. It went up 57.14%. I thought, well, that's good. Then I wrote this one, 3 strategies to help families to be less combative. And it was almost 90%. So do you see the difference in it's the same content, but how I worded the promise of what they would get? 3 ways to help families talk things out is still 3 ways to help families get along, and is 3 strategies to help families to be less combative. But that less combative and the word strategies, that really synced it. So it brought it straight up. It was powerful.
Yeah, I love that because, also, I don't know if you noticed too, Linda, like with AI, and there's some great, great resources out there, right, to help us save time, especially on our podcast episode titles if you're a host. But what I've seen, and you just explained this so well, is because sometimes like they spit out a title and you're like, well, that sounds kind of catchy or whatever, but it means nothing to the listener. Like that when you just said those, like a listener would see that and know immediately what I'm going to get out of this episode and be so much more attracted to it. So I love that so much. So is a, really good proposed topic enough, or should we provide anything else to the host on that topic?
Oh, great question. Love it. Love it. We can have the topic, we can have the title, but we want to offer them 3 to 5 talking points. We want to give them, I can cover this area, this area, this area, this area, and 3 to 5, they may only have time for 2, they may have time for 3, depending on how long you go. I've been in interviews, Kim, where we started with the first one, they got to the third one, and they went to a break. And during the break, he said, could you stay on for the rest of the program? Because I'd like to cover these other ones. Or can you come back? Because this has been really great and I'd love to have you come back on. If you can offer to a host something that makes their job easy, then they're going to want you back. And we'll talk about how to create those interview questions in the next episode that you and I do. But in this one, talking points that's going to say, I can address these 3 to 5 issues that are pertinent to your audience, and that makes it powerful.
Yeah, so true. And listeners don't want to hear the same interview over and over, on every show whenever you are out there being visible as a guest. So I love that just gives you a wide variety. And also one tip I thought of when you were talking too is like, be sure and look like after your episode is aired as a guest, like maybe listen to it from the perspective as, was there anything else in there that maybe alluded to some new topics you could talk about, just to keep adding to that list. I love that so much. Okay. Oh gosh, Linda, this has been so good. I know we could talk for hours, and I hope y'all will check out Linda's book, Creating a Dynamic Podcast and Audiobooks. And I'll be sure and put the link in the show notes. And listen, if you are guesting on podcasts and have an audio version of your book, be sure and mention it because listeners love to listen, right? And you can learn more about that in Linda's book in the show notes. Okay, Linda. So I can't wait for everyone to hear part 3 of the series coming up. It's going to be on how to create promise-based interview questions. And I hope you'll join us. That's part 3 on Linda's podcast, Your Best Writing Life. And I'll be sure to put a link in the show notes. Thanks again, Linda.
Thank you so much, Kim. It's been a blast.
Oh, y'all, this series is so much fun. You know how much I love collaborations. And if you're loving it too, be sure to check out Linda's book, Creating Dynamic Podcast and Audiobooks. And I'll also link to episode 94 when Linda was a past guest and we talked about delivering on the promise of your podcast. And it works whether you're a host or a guest. Thanks for tuning into Book Marketing Mania. And as always, I'll be there for you next episode to help you reach and serve your readers one podcast at a time. See you then.